In 1914, the brand new colony of Atascadero, under the leadership of its founder, Edward Gardner Lewis, began work on the Atascadero Administration Building, a double-domed Italian Renaissance structure destined to become an icon for the city. 88 years later, that building was seriously damaged during the San Simeon earthquake. This is the story of how we put it back together.
Our city will go back to having city operations right there. The community can come in and conduct their city business there. We'll be able to tell our story with the Historical Society there on the first floor again, having historic recreations of early life in Atascadero. And it'll also be a place for the community to come together for gatherings.
Over the years, windows have come and gone in Atascadero's historic administration building. In the 1920s, some very important windows disappeared, casting the lower rotunda into permanent shadows, all because of a few high-spirited young men.
Per the original photographs that we have of the building, these were always open. They were overlooks into the lower rotunda, and they really gave a lot of natural light into the lower rotunda just because of the configuration of the building. Now, when the Moran School for Boys moved in, what we're told is that the boys would throw things off of the overlooks. So they closed up the overlooks and they just completely filled it in. So for years and years and years, no one really looked up anymore. So they didn't know what they were looking at. And once we discovered by the photographs that they actually were openings, we said, we've got to open those up again. That adds so much to the visual of this room. And then, so the other discussion was about the previous skylights, essentially, that did provide light into the space, and that's kind of the eyebrow windows that you can see in the lower rotunda. Because of all the skylights on the building, originally the building, the third floor was only lit via skylights, not the windows. The windows on the exterior of the third floor were all added, once again, when it was the Moran School for Boys, because all the rooms became dorm rooms. So each room, they wanted a window in. So they added all those windows and then closed in all the skylights because the skylights were leaking. Well, the skylights are what gave light indirectly to those eyebrow windows within the lower rotunda.
While the gallery windows would be restored, the skylights would not. They had leaked before, and it was a concern they would leak again. Instead, light boxes would simulate daylight streaming into the building from the skylights, falling onto the lower rotunda floor through the restored gallery windows. No longer would the ornate chandelier be the only source of illumination for the great room. Throughout the building, something else would blaze anew: restored terracotta from the upper balustrades to ornate entries.
We're looking at a terracotta door surround from the original construction of the building, and it's been painted, so we're not actually looking at the real color. That's the actual glazed ceramic surface of the original terracotta. Sometime during the history of the building it was painted. The architects have decided to keep it. They've decided to interpret the building to this period of its use during which these things were painted. There's a lot of other terracotta on the building that's damaged that is not painted, however, and we'll be matching that glazed color right there as part of our repair process.
Terracotta is formed clay used for decorative elements. It's made by pouring material into molds, then hand sculpting the scrolls and artwork. No two buildings have identical terracotta designs.
It shattered in many instances. It just flat out sheared itself apart because, you know, earthquakes keep moving. They keep on going for a certain duration of time. It's rare that you just get one that shoves something one way and then it's over. It's a wave or whatever it might be. Terracotta, as it's going through that wave, just keeps on pulling itself apart. It keeps on rubbing against itself and moving. And so as it starts shattering, it sheds pieces off of it. It's like little pieces of clay just dropping. And that's what happened to this building. As the major move happened and we had all the diagonal cracking in the masonry, the terracotta did the same thing, but then kept on getting worse and worse and worse and worse as the building kept on moving. So a lot of it was just shattered. You have to rebuild, restore. It lost big pieces of itself, as you can see in the areas that now we've repaired. And you can see it more during the process. You won't see it when we're done. It's, once again, everyone's gonna look at the building and go, I don't get it, what did you do? But it's all been hand tooled to look exactly like it did. I mean, this is art that people had to come back in and go, that swirl, that fleur-de-lis, and actually recrafted it by hand in the areas that had been damaged.
Only those who worked on the structural repairs will know all of the changes that have been made. Everyone, however, will see the meticulous care taken to repair and restore the unique terracotta artwork adorning the historic Atascadero Administration Building.